What's going on, everybody? Today, I want to talk about the 3 ways that you can reduce your food cost in your restaurant and make more profit. So, I'm going to dive right in here. I am Andrew Scott from OwnerShift. We help owners make more sales, make more profit, and have more freedom with their time. So, what we're going to do is dive in. The number one way that you can reduce your food costs is to raise your prices. Now, I know everyone's hesitant to raise their prices. Oh, I don't want to lose customers. I don't want to, do anything to jeopardize that relationship. Like, oh, everybody feels weird about it, right? Everybody's apprehensive. But here is the truth of the matter. You cannot outsave improper pricing. You cannot outmarket improper pricing. There is nothing you can do in your business that will overcompensate for having improper pricing. Absolutely nothing. So when we work with people, that's one of the first things we do is we figure out, are they priced appropriately for their market and for their costs? And do we need to make any changes? I had a client come to me and he said, Andrew, I was able to increase my revenue by 20, 30%, but my food cost is still high. So I feel like I'm not making that much money. And I'm like, you're right. You cannot outmarket improper pricing. But I'll tell you what you can do. If you are trying to get more people in the door, here's the thing. If your pricing is so low, there's no incentive to bring people in. And what I mean by that is there's literally nothing you can do. You can't offer a two can dine special, or you can't do a special wing night or something like that. There's nothing you can do when your prices are so low. You're already not very profitable, right? But if you raise your prices, then you gain the ability to do certain things to drive customer behavior and influence customer traffic into your restaurant, because people don't actually really know what your pricing is. When we are marketing for new customer acquisition, they're really looking at the offer that's there to compel them to come in for their first visit. So if your pricing is actually a little bit higher, it gives you the opportunity to actually do that. They're actually not going to know what your pricing is, right? So that is number one. Number two comes down to portioning. Now, this one I cannot stress enough. I had a pizza restaurant that I worked with, and basically what they said to me is, oh, we should, we portion everything out to these cups. And this is the amount of cheese we put on. This is the amount of pepperoni. This is the amount of onions. And we have these portions and we use them. And I talked to their management team. I'm like, okay, guys, so, does everyone use the portion cups? And everyone's like, no, we don't even bring them out in the morning. Like, they just sit in a drawer somewhere. We're just like throwing stuff on. And I'm like, okay, so no wonder there's a food cost problem here. Even if you're looking at the amount of fries, there has been a significant uptick in the amount of baskets that people put fries in. Anyone know why that is? A lot of it is presentation, but proper portioning as well, right? Because you can only fit so many fries in that particular, steel basket that you bring out on the plate, right? Only so much it'll go in there, which means it limits your ability to overspend. So portioning is huge. An example that I used in my quick service sandwich restaurant, one of the things that I did was I literally had everyone make the exact same order. I came up to them. I said, hey, can you make this order really quick? Customer called it in, and they did that. And every time they made that order, I grabbed it, I put it in our fridge. And then at the end of shift, I brought everyone together and we weighed all of their items. Exact same ingredients, supposed to be the exact same portioning. And literally one of them was half a pound and one of them was over a pound. I mean, so for the same ingredients, how do we get that much different in sizing? So the best thing you can do is for you, your management team, your supervisors to literally watch the portions that are going out, because your profitability is in the hands of your employees. Most people think if they reduce their inventory, it's actually going to save them money on food cost. And yes, if you're spoiling things, sure. But in a lot of cases, your inventory just means you cut down inventory 1 week, you're going to order more the next week because it's not actually changing what's going out into the customers. So think about it this way. The biggest thing, pricing, number two, is actually what goes out to the customers. And if it is more than what you budgeted for when you costed your menu. Now, number three is waste. If all of a sudden we're ordering way too much and it's going bad, all of a sudden, if we notice our things are spoiling too quickly, if we're prepping way too much, or if in the prep process we are doing some of this. So my team used to call me the cucumber Nazi, and there is a very good reason for that, is because that was the example I used for waste. when you're at home and you're chopping a cucumber, how much do you take off? Most people take off like, an inch or something like that on both ends, right? And so when employees come in and they're chopping these cucumbers, that's exactly what they do. And I saw one guy, chopping these cucumbers when I did a site check once. And I came in and literally, I kid you not, it was like 2 inches or whatnot of this cucumber. And I'm like, why are you cutting off that much of each end of the cucumber? And so what I did was I literally took them all out of the garbage when he was done, and I lined them all up, and it actually made 2 full cucumbers or something like that. And so what I did was I was like, hey, just so you know, we wasted that much. How much do you really have to cut off? Actually, only a small amount. So the rest of that is actually waste. And then I did the math on it. Okay, we buy 10 cases of cucumbers a week, and they cost on average $15. So that gives us this total, costs us $1,000 per year or whatever the math was on it. He's like, oh man, like that's crazy how much just from that little bit of cucumber. So that's the example I use. So we look for prep waste. We look for people making mistakes as well. So if there's a lot of mistakes in a certain area, we want to track all the waste that happens. Maybe they're dropping things. Maybe they're, calling the wrong order out. There could be a number of different ways. So to recap, number one, pricing. You cannot outmarket, you cannot outsave, you cannot outscrimp or change or anything improper pricing. Number two, portioning. Literally, your profitability is in the hands of your employees. So we need to make sure that people are executing the way it is supposed to be executed on for your guests. And number three is waste, to make sure we are not wasting things, to make sure there's not mistakes. And yeah, that's all in line. Now, the bonus here, number four, is actually to negotiate prices with your suppliers. Not all of you can do that. Sometimes you're locked in. Sometimes it's hard to do. But if you're able to do that, that will make an effect if you can get a volume discount, for example. But those are the three that are most certainly in your hands. And if you start applying those right now, that'll put more money in your bank account by next week. All right, guys, we'll see you soon. Let me know if you have any questions.